How was your trip to Cambodia?
To say it was an eye-opening experience and that I now appreciate everything I have a lot more, it sounds quite cheesy, but this is exactly how I feel. When I first learned about the Harry Zaphir Scholarship, I thought it would be an amazing opportunity to spread the word about this great cause, which assists the poor to lift themselves and the communities out of poverty. I would often read the progress reports about the entrepreneurs SCU had sponsored and what those funds raised had enabled them to do, such as purchasing chickens for their farms or building enclosures for their livestock. However, I didn't know it was so much more than equipment and providing tips on farming. It was what this equipment and this support does for the poor in countries such as Cambodia. What it enables them to achieve for themselves and the significant difference it made to their lives. What we consider small change when donating is literally life-changing to the inspiring people I met on my journey in Cambodia. And I could not thank QFA and TSWG enough. Because with their support, I was lucky enough to see this with my very own eyes.
How did you go about fundraising awareness?
My journey began well before I landed in Cambodia. It began when I and the SCU team and friends came together over a span of about 9 months, and we worked hard in raising funds for this great cause. To actually meet the entrepreneurs who would be receiving support was a great motivator for me. I kept imagining how happy they would be and the difference it would make to their lives. What was so amazing for me was the support I received from all around me, friends, co-workers, and people who were curious as to what my fundraising was all about. And they were so generous and helpful. I took great pride in explaining what the cause was about to people who were not aware of the great works Cuba was doing. And in these countries, and they were always complimenting on how great the concept of helping people lift themselves out of poverty was. I now take even greater pride in speaking about my trip and experience in Cambodia.
How did you find Cambodia?
When I finally arrived in Cambodia's capital, Phnom Penh, the weather was hot. It was extremely hot. In fact, a heat I'd never experienced before. On the first day of my trip, myself and Cambodia staff Tola, we travelled 1.5 hours to my first visit of Kufa's village entrepreneurs. It was in the Kandal province, where I'd met a vegetable farmer, a chicken farmer, and a fish farmer. When we arrived, I remember being really taken back by the homes the villagers lived in. All homes were built on wooden stilts, a few metres high. The home was one large open space and was a raised wooden floor, which was used as the dining area, kitchen and living area. There were 3 large clay pots to the side of the house where their water supply was kept. And that was collected from the last rainfall, meaning there was no actual running water there. So the entrepreneurs were so kind and welcoming, and during the few hours I was there, I learned a lot about what they wanted to achieve for themselves, setbacks they faced, how QF had helped them and their business, and what they learned. I remember Mrs. Sray Nang Van first learned chicken farming from her parents. Continuing on with what she always knew, she also sought out to have her own chicken farming business. Mrs. Van told me that when she first started her business, the livestock would roam around the village, and some would get lost, and many would get infected by disease and eventually die. This meant a lot of the money she spent in purchasing these chickens would go to waste, as the few that she did have would barely make enough to feed her family. However, through the assistance she received from QFA, through the VE training, which is a village entrepreneur training, she learned how to build an effective chicken enclosure so she would not have to suffer loss of stock. She also explained that the business program workshops taught her that containing the chickens in one area meant she could control the environment, meaning less chance of her chickens attracting any diseases. Mrs. Van was also excited to share with me that through the VE training she was taught how to vaccinate her chickens. She had completed 1 year in village entrepreneur training and hoped by the end of the program in year 3 she would have learnt enough to expand her business to raise an even larger chicken coop. So after learning more about each of the VE's businesses, I observed the quarterly business progress workshop run by QFAR, which was attended by a few more VEs within the village. It was so great to see how eager the VEs were to learn further farming practices and how much they appreciated the knowledge being passed on to them. Because a lot of the entrepreneurs never had the opportunity to be educated as children, many do not know how to read. However, QFAR staff delivered the workshop through demonstration, video, pictures, ensuring all the VEs could understand the material being delivered in a very practical way. I was impressed to see that business owners were not only the ones benefiting from QFAR's presence in the community, and that a more holistic approach was being taken to assist the community break out of poverty. QFAR ran children's financial literacy programs across many schools in rural areas, which aims to teach children at a young age about the benefits of saving, budgets, and the basics of banking. I was so lucky to observe these classes in action across 2 schools. And it was so lovely to see how excited the children were to learn about banking. They were soaking in everything that was being taught to them. It was interesting also to learn that this school and many more in Cambodia are run in shifts. So we had the morning and afternoon shifts. Siblings would either attend morning or afternoon, while the other helped their parents in their farms. It was a real eye-opener to see how hard-working these children were at a very young age. On the last 2 days of my stay in Cambodia, I met 2 credit union committees that were formed by QFAR, both created for farmers. It was interesting to see what their hurdles were in growing their member base to what we experience here in Australia. In Cambodia, the concept of storing their life savings with a financial institution is a new and it's quite frightening concept to many of the villagers. Issues of trust was a major deterrent for gaining more members. However, it was promising to hear while speaking to the committee that these issues were slowly but surely being overcome, as villagers were able to see firsthand the positives the credit union were able to bring to the members in the form of loans and then being able to purchase more effective farming equipment. At the close of my trip and reflecting back on the week I had spent in Cambodia, I can honestly say it was an experience of a lifetime, which not only made me more appreciative of what I have, but also to TSWG and QFAR, who provided me with this amazing opportunity. This experience gave me more understanding of the difference QFAR, through our support, were making to the lives of the poor. Something as basic as running water makes a world of difference in the lives of these people, and I'm truly proud to support this great organisation.